In this video, we're going to go over standard reports. Standard reports are the most common reports that people use. Therefore, any type of reporting you want to create on. You can create any type of report based on the data you put into Windfall. So if you want to create a report based on total weight or square footage or what you currently have in the warehouse, what you currently had on a certain day during a certain time period, date range, whatever, you can create a standard report or advanced report. Just as long as the data is in Windfall, you can report on it. So we're going to start with standard reports. So it's the icon with the printer. First, I'm going to show you what we call canned reports. Canned reports are hard-coded into the software. They're there for your utilization, but they cannot be changed or modified. They're there if you just want to use them for how they work today. If you need a report just like that one, but maybe add a couple fields or change a couple things, you can request an advanced special built report from us, and we can work on that for you as well. So if you see something you want to use but you want to modify it a bit, you'll just need to contact support and we can discuss further on what you need or what you want. So once again, we're going to start with canned reports. Like I said before, you can't change, add, or modify them. They're just here if you want to use them. So they're under View, Customer Reports. The first one is Article Report. What this is if you want to set up an article book to scan in Windfall, you can use this. It's called the Customer Article Report. So you select your customer and hit Print, and this creates a book of all the articles that you've created for a given customer. So if you don't want to utilize the option of the drop-down menu and you actually either want to type or scan your article, this article book is a nice feature to print out. It'll list every article you've created. It's not what's currently in inventory, it's all the articles you've created, regardless if you've scanned anything in with them or not. It's just a book to scan the created articles. So it shows the article with the barcode and any data that you have attached to that article in Windfall. So you can export it to PDF or you can print it. The next one is article quantity. A lot of people use the article quantity report. This will show you the total quantity of all the articles you currently have in the Windfall system. So you select by customer, print, and it will show you hotel as the customer, quantity report for warehouse inventory ran on this date and this time, and here's your assets in storage. Remember, this is what's currently in storage. The article number, the type, the description, the attributes, and any other data, manufacturer, part number, and the quantity in the warehouse for that article. Then it lists them individually, and then in the bottom it gives you a grand total of all the articles, just articles, not tags, in the warehouse for this customer. Now remember, once again, you can export these into PDF to email or you can print them from the screen. The next one is called Article Category. It's the same report as Article Quantity, except it sorts it by category, not by article. So you select the customer, hit Print, and then it does the same report based on by category. Okay. Also, as you notice, under each one, you can filter further down. So you don't have to show all customers. You can filter down by class. Just show me the class of hotel project inventory. Then you can sort all the way down by category. Just show me the electric and hit Print. And it filters all the way down to where it's just pulling what you currently have in to match that criteria. So you can filter those down on both of those reports. The next one we have is the Archive Master Inventory for a given customer. This is the inventory that's been archived, so out. So for this hotel customer, this is the Archive Inventory Report with the negative quantities. Whenever you see a negative number, that means it's an out record. Next we have Utilization Detail Report. This report is what the customer is utilizing in your warehouse. So if you select the customer, it's customer specific, hit Print, and as you can see for this customer hotel, customer square footage used detail report. The difference between a detailed report and a summary report Its detail will list everything individually line by line, and a summary will just roll it up into one with a total. So it doesn't break it down on the summary. So this one's a detail report, so it shows you the customer hotel is using locations F01, F02, F04, and Vault 105 at F temp. Then to the right, it shows you the quantity in each of those locations, as well as the square footage of the location being occupied. Now, it's only going to show up for the square footage if you populate square footage under the location tab. So this is by location square footage, not inventory square footage. Then it gives you total amount of items in storage for this given customer. The next one is the utilization summary, which, like I said, is the same report, but this one is just summarized. It's going to give you the total square footage used in locations for this customer. It's not going to break it down by detail. So as you can see, you're only using one vault, and we hadn't captured square footage for all of our locations, therefore this is not populated. But if you had captured square footage in all of your locations, these would be populated. Then we have warehouse exceptions. If you use driver's inventory exceptions, you could use that report. Certificate of destruction and authority for destruction is typically used with record storage, but you can also use it for any type of process you use. It's not designed specifically just for record storage. So anything, like I've said before, in our software, you can implement to use for your process. So we're here to help you sort out how to rearrange or use reports or different fields in Windfall to suit your needs for your customer's needs. And every customer is different. One customer you may use a certain process, whereas another customer you do an altogether different process. So anytime you have a new customer or anything and you want to talk out or walk through any options, just give us a call and we can help you or give you ideas on what tools to use within the software. So certificate and authority for destruction are, for example, if you have items in your warehouse that have a set date to be destroyed. In such as the record storage world, you have boxes or files that have destruction dates that you set, that you send a customer a certificate of destruction once it's destroyed to show proof that you did destroy it. And the authority for destruction is to send a customer prior to destruction to get their signature to say, hey, on this date I have scheduled to destroy these pieces. Is this okay? Then they sign it and they send it back to you. So that, in order to use this report, the authority for destruction report, you have to have a specific date set in UDF2. UDF2 has to be used for this date. So you pick the day, and remember you had to have it populated prior to running this report. And that's great. So I didn't have a good date on that. So authority for destruction and certificate of destruction you must use. You have to have a work order and UDF2 populated with a destruction date in order for those to work. High water detail and high water summary. High water detail is it's going to show you the highest amount of inventory you've had in your warehouse on a given date range. So for example, we'll select the customer hotel. We'll do all orders. You can do it by specific order if you wish, or all orders from a given time period. So if I wanted from 9/1 to 9/30, that would be my start date and end date. Do I want to display it by quantity? I can do square footage, cube footage, weight, PO, any UDF fields. And then it multiplies by quantity. You hit print. And this is a high water detail report for customer hotel in this date range, printed on this date and time. Here's the start date, how much quantity you had in the warehouse. This day, how many quantity. This day, the quantity. And then the high water for the quantity is the highest amount of inventory you had in your warehouse on a given day in that month range. So you would bill by 238 for that month because that's the highest amount of inventory you had in the warehouse. So that's what you can use for high water detail. You can do it, like I said, by quantity, square footage, however you bill. Remember, the detail breaks it out. The summary gives you a grand total. So then the high water summary is the same report, just with the totals. So we select hotel. We're going to do all orders from this date, start date, to this end date. We're going to do by quantity, hit print, and then it just says our customer from this start date to this end date, the high water amount is 238 on this given day. So on 9/9, the highest amount we had was 238, and that's the highest amount in that date range. So you can either summarize it and just see the one date with the total high water, or you can detail it and list it day by day. The next report is location high water and location high water detail. So this is by location square footage. The other square footage was by inventory square footage. Like I said before, when creating locations, you can capture square footage based on the piece, you can capture square footage based on the location, or you can capture square footage in both the location and the piece. But this report runs by the square footage of locations. So on 9/9, it was only 25 because 25 is the square footage I put in for a vault when we were creating locations. So that's the highest amount of square footage I used. So it's the same high water report, but based on location square footage, not inventory level. So once again, you have the summary, which just sums it up with the total of 25, and the detail, which lists it day by day. Utilization detail all customers. As you could see before, the utilization we ran was only for one specific customer. This one will run for all your customers, so you can see how your warehouse is getting utilized with every customer within the warehouse. You can also view it by household versus customer, or commercial customers, and how it pulls whether or not that customer is household or commercial is when you're creating the customer. You go into the customer, under the information tab, this billing type here. So based on what you put in that billing type there is how this report designates whether that customer is a household good customer or a commercial customer. And then you hit print, and then it breaks it down just like the other detail report. In this warehouse, this customer under this order is utilizing these locations with the grand total. To the right is the square footage. If we had more customers, it would list the next customer, the order, and the totals. The next report is the same report again, only for summary. So this will give us that same report with just a grand total. 25 square footage, 238 as the quantity. And this last report here is destruction pick list. Once again, that is used in record storage, but you can utilize it outside record storage. If you have, like I said before, if you want to put in destruction dates for pieces, it has to be captured in UDF2, and then you can run this destruction pick list based on a given date, and it'll list all the inventory that is supposed to be destroyed on that given day. So those are our canned reports. Once again, those are reports that you can utilize, you can ignore, or whatnot. You just cannot modify them. Now down below here, we have other reports that you'll notice that are hard-coded into the software. These are just reports that come when you install the software. These ones you can change, modify, delete if you don't want to use them. If they're not relevant to you, you can just highlight them and hit the X and delete them from here, or you can change them up and use them to your advantage. Either way, they're just here to give you an idea on how reports are built, what they look like in the different tabs, just to give you an idea of some of the types of reports people tend to build using this software. But I'm going to build some reports now just based on common reports that people use for standard. A standard report that people typically build is, what do I currently have in my warehouse report? And what's imperative when you're building reports is you must know what type of report you're going to build or want to build before you start building it. Because Windfall is kind of like a tree. So you have to start at the top and pick certain tables for other tables to become an option to select from. So it's kind of like a string. You have to pick one to have the availability to pick another, and certain fields display certain things within the software. So you must know what type of report you're going to create before you start creating it. So this report that I'm going to create now is just what do I currently have in my Windfall warehouse report. So like I do always in Windfall, I hit the white page to add new, and then again I work left to right throughout the software. And under the report properties is where I'm going to put my report title, so the name of my report. I'm going to call it Current Inventory in Warehouse. Now, down here is heading. So any type of heading you want under the title, possibly your company's name, an address, anything if you want to make the report look nicer or more clean. It's up to you. The font size, you can select the different types of fonts. It is set to regular 10. The only way I move it any different than 10 is if I'm putting a lot of data on the report and I need to fit a lot. So I'll change my font to the size 8, so it makes it a smaller font. Therefore, I can fit more on my reporting. So I typically always just change it to 8 because I always have a lot of fields on my reports. Over here is category. You can label what type of report this is based on agent, article, cost center, customer, inventory, location, miscellaneous, transaction, warehouse, work order. Well, this is an inventory report, so I'm going to categorize it as an inventory report because what I'm looking at is what I currently have in the warehouse. Detail type, show detail, hide detail, summary. Just like we were looking before at the canned reports, detailed reports are detailed. They list everything line by line with quantities, whereas the summary report just gives you totals. So typically you're going to want to use the show detail so you can see all the information. Page layout, you can select between portrait or landscape depending on which way you want your report to view. So it's yellow, so we save. Then we move left to right. Fields, groups, and aggregates is the tab where you want to think of the meat of the report. This is where we're putting all of our data. So what do we want to see on the report? What tables and fields do we want to view on this report? So what you do is you start by hitting add, and it wants to know what table you want to select from first. And I tend to think of the tables kind of like the tabs in the customer. So if you look to the left here, it says customer hotel, these tabs. It helps me kind of remember and associate tables with tabs. So I always start with the customer table first, which kind of is like the information tab. What's all under the customer table? The table's the header, if you want to look at it, and then you hit next, and then you have to select the field. So what fields under customer do we want to see on this report? And those are the same fields under the information tab, and the fields being name, title, social security, address, so on and so forth. So I want to see the customer name. So I hit finish. So right now my table, that all I have on the report is under table, I have the customer, field, the cus name. That's all I've got on my report right now. I want to keep going. So I hit add again. Now, since I chose customer as the top of the tree, I have these other options to select from. Next, I want to see inventory. Any table, when you select the table inventory, anything under inventory field-wise is the data collection information. So the field for inventory is what you collected, articles, UDFs, attributes, manufacturer, any data, width, depth, height. So maybe I want to see the tag number. So I've got inventory tag number. Then I hit add again, and I want to keep going under my inventory tab because I want to see more information. So I hit inventory, next. I wanted to see description because I want to know what it is. Then I hit add again, and I hit inventory, next. And I used UDF 1, 2, and 3 for this customer, so I want to see those. So I select UDF 1, finish, add again. My table is inventory still because I'm still looking at the data-wise information. So I select inventory, next. UDF 2, finish, hit add again. I select my inventory table again, hit next, and UDF 3. Whoops. So right now on the report, that's what I've got. Tag number, description, UDFs, and customer name. I also want to see quantity and location. Now, since I'm doing an inventory currently in the warehouse, I hit add, and then I select inventory item location. Whenever you have inventory item location, it's only going to display inventory that you currently have in the warehouse. So if you're ever building a history report or an out report, you never want to use inventory item location, because we want to see what's currently in the warehouse, not that went out. So if you're going to use inventory item location, make sure the report is a report that you're looking at what you have in the warehouse. So I select inventory item location, next, quantity. Also, when you put inventory item location on a report, you're only going to see stuff you currently have in. Then you hit add again, and after you select the inventory item location field tab, location is now available for you to select as a table. Then you hit next, and I want to see my location tag. Finish. So that's what I currently have on the report. So it's yellow, so I save. That's all I want on this current report. If I ran this report now to view it, it would show me, since I'm not filtering by anything, it would show me all customers in my database's information for tag, description, quantity, etc. So I'm going to go to filtering and selection criteria and filter by what I want to specifically see. If you don't filter and say, I only want to see this specific thing, the report will display everything that you have table-wise on the fields, groups, and aggregates. It'll display everything. So under filtering and selection criteria, I'm filtering and saying, I only want to see this specific stuff. So I hit add row, my table, I only want to see one of my customers on this report. Table, I select customer, field, cus name. Operand means what you want to select from. So like equal, not equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, like, is null, is not null. So equal to, because I only want to see this specific customer, hotel. So it's yellow and I save. So now I filtered to say, just show me what I currently have in, where it's located in for this specific customer. So now when I run the report, which by running it, I hit this white page with the magnifying glass, this will open my report. So now you can see, here's my header with my address, the date and time, I have the customer name, the tag number, the description, UDFs, quantity, and where it's located. Well, right now I'm not real excited about this report because I want it to look cleaner and nicer. So I don't want to see this customer name listed 100 times. I want my tag number in ascending order, and my locations are falling off the page. And I want to rename my headers. So how we fix that is we close this report and we go back into fields, groups, and aggregates. And then for cus name, we're going to do a sort and do, or not a sort, excuse me, a break and do a line break. That way it'll only show my customer name once. Then under tag number, we're going to do sort in ascending order, so my tag numbers will be in ascending order. Also, under output title, whatever you put under output title will be the header of the report. So UDF1, I have PO number as my header. UDF2, I have room number. UDF3 is floor number for my hotel customer. Quantity, I just want to shorten up, and location, I want to shorten up. So it's yellow, so I save. So let's view the report again and see what it looks like, hitting the white page with the magnifying glass. Now it looks a little cleaner. The customer name only shows once. My location is still too long, so I'm going to clean this up a little bit too. And I want a total quantity. So I close the report. Now I go over to where quantity is, and I squeal over, and I want a sum of my quantity. A count would just be a count of all the line items on the report. A sum is going to give you a total of quantity. I also want to go to report properties and make my page into landscape so I can fill more data in and make it look nicer. And it's yellow, so we save. And then we go back to fields, groups, and aggregates. And my description was too long as well. I want to make that a little longer because it was wrapping on the screen. So I go to my width and I make it, let's make it 2.0 in length. And it's yellow, so I save, preview. So now my description is not wrapping. Well, this one's wrapping, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more places we need to move this so it doesn't wrap. Then we have our total of our quantity. Our headers look nicer and everything fits on the page. So we're just gonna go back to description and add 6 more fields. 2.6, save, view the report, and oh, this is the description for the next field, my mistake. The reason these do not have tag numbers is because these 3 pieces have articles attached without tags. So that's what that means when you don't see the tag there. Also, you can export these reports to PDF and email them to your customer, or whatever's highlighted here, you can hit report, save as file, and save it as a CSV format in new Excel document to make any type of changes you want or to email to your customer. You can also import or export this file into separate databases. So if you have multiple databases on your server, Windfall databases, you can export this report and then import it into your new database or whichever different database. If you have the same server with multiple databases for different warehouses, you could use that as well. So that's what a current inventory in warehouse report looks like. Also, you do not want to use this advanced tab. This are joins in SQL, so you don't want to touch this, because if you touch this, you could change the data on the reports and they would be incorrect and you wouldn't have the right information. So this is just a typical inventory in report, just showing me what I currently have in. Just remember, as a little helpful reminder, if you have location on a report, that's just going to show you what you have in the warehouse because location's on it. If you think of, okay, if it has a location, it has to be in the warehouse. It wouldn't have a location if it was out. So that's a helpful reminder, I think, too. Also, you can assign barcodes to tag numbers if you ever wanted to print out a report with some tag numbers on it. So those are your tags. So that's a current inventory in report. The next report I'm going to create is we'll do an activity report. So what activities have we done on a given day or a given date range? So just remember, like I said before, you want to know what type of report you're building before you start building it. So once again, we hit white page to add new. We go to report fields and then we give our report title. I'm going to call it activity report. Yellow, save. Maybe I'm just going to keep this as inventory category. That way, if I ever want to go up to this category option, I can say, show me all my inventory reports. And then the grid will just list the inventory reports or work order or however you categorize them. This tab here as well is just the same canned report, that article quantity report, if you want to run it a faster way, since this article report, since many people use this booklet to scan in articles, it's another way to just access that report. This is to delete the report. This is to print the report, view the report, save the report, and this is a template. And as we've gone over in other areas in Windfall, the template just makes a carbon copy of whatever you have highlighted. So that's a nice feature to use in reporting. So like that inventory in report we just built, if you wanted to run it by customer, instead of having to go in here each time, go to filtering and selection criteria and select a different customer, you could make a carbon copy of that report and label it, this is an inventory in report for hotel, this is an inventory in report for office customer, and so on and so forth. So you could have separate of the same report for different customers. So let's go back to the activity report. So we go to fields, groups, and aggregates. Now we're going to put on whatever we want, fields we want on this report, and next activity. So we want to see all the activity, the ins, the moves, the outs. So once again, you hit add, and we're picking our table first. And remember, it's like a tree. So I'm going to select customer first, then next. Then I want to see cust name, finish. Then I hit add again. I want to see inventory, next. I want to see my tag number, next. Add inventory again. I want to see the description. And then I want to see the quantities. So if this is an activity report, I want to see ins, moves, and outs. So I cannot use inventory item location on this report. I have to get quantity from another table, and that table is the inventory history table. So if quantity is located in two tables, inventory history and inventory item location. Depending on what type of report you're building is where you're going to pull quantity from. So we're going to do inventory history because we're doing an activity report. Quantity. Also, you want to think of inventory history as history, so it contains dates and things like that. Next, we want to add dates because we want to see the date things happened on my activity report. So I hit add, inventory history, date. Okay? And as you start building these reports, you'll see all the fields in the tables under each one and which tables and which fields open after you select each one. But like I said before, it's a helpful reminder to me that if you think of these tabs and these icons as tables and anything under them as the fields, you can kind of see what goes with what. So we have inventory history, quantity, inventory history, date. Now we also want to see the activity code. We want to know if it was an in, a move, or an out, and what activity we performed on it. So we hit add. Activity code becomes available after you choose inventory history table on your report. So you select inventory activity code next, and you want to pick short description because short description just says in, move, or out. If you select long description, it says inventory in, inventory move, inventory out. It's just longer. So short description. So it's yellow, so we save. And that's all I want on my report for right now. Now just remember, if I ran this report as how it is now, it's going to display everything for all customers in the database. So I don't want that in all dates. I just want a specific customer for a specific date range. So what I do is I go into filtering and selection criteria. I hit add row. My table, since I want to see a specific customer, I select customer. My field is cust name equal to which customer I want to run this report for, hotel. Then I hit add a row, and my logical operator is and I want to see inventory history because now I want to see a specific date range. Inventory history, my field is date. Then I'm going to say I want to see everything greater than or equal to this given day. And it's only going to show me the given days I had activity on. So on this given day, add row, and my table inventory history, date, less than or equal to my last date I want to see out of the date range. So I'm going to see, this report's going to show me all activity for this given customer in that specific date range. So now it's yellow, so I save. Then I preview my report. Now, as you can see, it's showing me my customer, my tag number, my description, my quantities, my date, and my short description is my activity. So as you can scroll down, you can see the ins, the outs, the moves. On the second page, the outs, the moves, the ins. Now, once again, you can clean up that report, and we can go to fields, groups, and aggregates, and we don't want to see the name 100 times because we're only filtering by a specific customer. So we can do a line break on the report, and then we can, shorten up our headers to tag number, quantity, and then we'll call this activity. You can build reports for, within your warehouse, just for your warehouse purposes, maybe for your accounting, and some reports you may build to send to your customers. It just depends on what you want. And just remember, you can build any type of report you need as long as the data is already in Windfall, or you put it in Windfall. So it's yellow, so we save. And then we want a total of our quantity. No, we don't want a total because we have activity. And then we can move things up and down. So maybe I want to see my quantity by my tag number. So I can move that up, or I can move it down. So I'm going to move it up. And I also want my activity underneath it and what it is. So now when I preview the report, I can see that customer hotel, this tag number came in. It's a love seat on this day. And then this came in, ins, and then we got an in and an out for this specific piece. Then we have a move and an out on this piece. Then if we want to keep everything consistent, we can go back to tag number and sort by ascending order so we can see exactly what happened to the tag's life span. Preview the report. You see that this tag, these are blank because once again they have articles attached, not tags. So this piece, 9 moved, 2 out, and 11 in. So you can see that 11 came in of this desk lamp, 2 went out on this date, and 9 were moved on this date. And you just scroll down and you continually see the record. It's an activity for every time you've touched that tag. It shows a record, a history record of every time you've done something with that tag number. You could also say, I only want to see the ins and outs. I don't care about the moves. I want to send this report to my customer. They don't care about moves. I only want to see ins and outs. So then what you could do is you can close this out, go back to filtering and selection criteria, hit add row and add another row, and then say and inventory history, activity code, short description, not equal to move, because I don't want to see any moves. So it's yellow, so you save, and then you preview the report. And now you can see we only see the ins and outs. The moves are no longer on the report. There are many different reports you can build. The most common, though, are activity and what I currently have in. You can also build work order reports, out reports, employee activity reports. So, for example, if I look at all categories, there's an employee activity report that you can use, change, or modify. And you view that, you can see what a certain user did on a given day, what activities they completed. So just like I said, any data you collect or any data Windfall collects for you, you can run a report on. So I believe that explains standard reports. And don't hesitate to call support or email support with any questions on how to build a standard report, because they can be tricky in the beginning. And like I said before, if you go to this eye on our website, it's the information eye. It takes you right to our help site that'll help you with a flow chart of the tables versus with the fields and things like that. Or just call and we can help you out as well too. You just want to, the main point is you want to remember what type of report you're building and what data you need before you start building that report. So this ends standard reports training.